going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Doctor Movie. It's the French version, in case you didn't know. Yep, Doctor Movie, again, riding in the car and talking about movies. And I have to tell you about this movie. You know, that's one thing about this show that I like what I get to do, because obviously I love the horror stuff. But I have a sweet spot for bad 70s movies. I like the trucker flicks. I like all the exploitation flicks. Let's just put it that way. And this is one that, you know, it happens to be on Tubi, so I had to check it out. It's from 1975, which, you know, shows you that the trucker thing was popular before Smokey and the Bandit, which I already kind of knew that because, again, of the CB lingo and the songs that are all about driving trucks. I'm looking at the world through a windshield and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm laying some CB song knowledge on you here. Not that I'm proud of that. Widowmaker. I mean, there's a ton. I remember there used to be a commercial on TV that was, you know, the greatest truck driving songs, right? You had Red So Vine and all those people on there. Not Red So Fine, Red So Vine. Come on back, truckers, and talk to Teddy Bear. I mean, you had all these tracks, right? Anyways, 1975. This movie is called Trucker's Woman. I'm just assuming they just ran out of ideas of what to call this thing, because with a name like Trucker's Woman, you would think there would be a lot of sleaziness, right? And there's really not. Maybe for 70, no, not for 75. I was going to say maybe for 75 this was, but no, come on, man. That's the golden age of pornography. No, this is not sleazy in the slightest bit. I think they were trying to legitimately make a decent movie with what they had. So I can't really tell you anybody that's in this movie that's been anything else, except, again, all you horror fans or Darkman fans, we got a very young Larry Drake in this, which is interesting to see because he has more hair and he's wearing double denim. Now, who doesn't want to see that, right? But it was interesting to see him because I didn't know he was in this, and I was just watching. I was like, wait a minute. You know, that's Dr. Giggles standing there, right? Who he plays a character called, I think it's Diesel Joe, I think was his name. So he was a mechanic, right, that works on vehicles. He'll play into the story a little later on. Let's read the synopsis here. It says, the son of a murdered truck driver starts driving his own 18-wheeler to infiltrate the world of suspects who may have committed the crime. So yeah, movie starts off. This guy's driving down the road. He starts going down a pretty twisty-turvy road and loses his brakes and crashes and dies. And the setup of this, instantly we go to the funeral and we're graveside, and the priest talks about, you know, what an influence he was to the community with his truck driving. and the priest even mentions, and with his absence, his son is now picking up where he left off and becoming, the next truck driver of the family. I mean, this is like the weirdest way of saying, get on with the story, right? We're going to let the priest just say, yep, you're dead and you were a great person, but now your son's going to take over for you. That way we don't have to explain it anywhere else in the movie. And this is all in the first, 2 minutes of the movie. We've had a crash and we're passing the torch that fast. So that just shows you. But, this guy's kind of a young guy, intellect, would not normally be a truck driver, and he's driving his truck down the road, and you get this cool song about I'm a gear jamming, clutch burning, truck driving man kind of thing going on. Very, trucky song. And he sees this hot blonde come by in a convertible, and you know how that goes. He's honking the horn at her, and she kind of grins and goes on. And he pulls over at this little restaurant and lo and behold, she's there. So he goes in there and he makes his move, and she's like, oh, you must be that truck driver, right? And she's like, you're not my type. And he's like, how do you know, right? And turns out he kind of woos her a little bit, right? Because he's a smart guy. He's not just a truck driver. Not against all you truck drivers out there. It's not what I'm saying. But he's a very intellect guy who, you know, truck driving would seem like more of a pastime than anything else for him, because he wants to be back in college and teaching and all that kind of crap, right? So nothing against truck drivers. Like I said, they're the life support of the entire country. Yeah, I'm talking to you guys out there. And so he makes his move with this chick, and then there's some troublemakers. I'm assuming they're probably other truck drivers. I don't know, but they start up a ruckus in this little restaurant, and he takes care of business. He knows how to handle himself. He's got some martial arts moves. Why? I don't know, but he does. I guess because it's 1975 and everybody had Bruce Lee fever. And even myself, I had Bruce Lee fever. And so he takes care of business, and she's kind of impressed and then kind of bothered by this guy can just snap and turn into this person that can do this kind of stuff, right? Anyways, she leaves. He leaves because she says, you might want to get out of here too, because I'm sure the cops will be on the way. And then it just goes to him driving down the road. And then he just pulls into this place and starts knocking on her door. And she's in the shower. And, you know, you get some brief nudity here, but nothing gratuitous, right? And again, I'm surprised because of what time period this is. And she's like, how do you even know where I live? So I'm even kind of figuring this out. I'm like, how does he know? I mean, did he just follow her car? But he wasn't. You can't keep up with a car in a truck, especially if you're hauling stuff, right? Just saying. So how he knows where she lives, I have no idea. Maybe he's a lot more intellect than we thought. Maybe he's a Professor X. But, you know, they end up kind of hitting it off and start hitting it. And, and then it goes from there to, this is almost the same setup as Highballing, if you listen to that episode, where we've got a guy that's pretty much trying to take all the other truckers and make them work under him, keeping you from being an independent person working for yourself, right? Almost the same story. And it turns out there's this guy who's the big wheel, I guess you'd say. He's the guy that runs this big trucking company, and apparently he had our stars, or our main character's father, knocked off. So they did the old cutting the brake lines trick, right? That we see in car movies so much. So he loses the brakes, ends up crashing and dying. Well, this whole time, his son, that is now the truck driver, is trying to figure all this stuff out. And he's got a buddy that kind of works in that system as well, and that's also a truck driver. And they almost do the exact same thing that's in Highballing. So I'm kind of wondering if Highballing took the idea of this and put their own spin on it, because it's really, really similar. Because, you know, our main character and his partner decide to get all the other truckers together, pitch in some money, and start their own, you know, trucking system together. And, of course, the bad guys don't like that, right? So they want to stop them from making that happen. So they're going to do the exact same thing that we saw in another movie and try to stop these guys. So you find out later on that Larry Drake, who's Diesel Joe, did the brake job on dude's dad's truck to make him crash, right? And they get him to do the same thing to this guy's truck. But luckily, he catches it in enough time that, I mean, it gets pretty squirrely on him, but he actually gets the vehicle to stop, and then he realizes he goes back to look and can see where the brakes have been cut. So he hunts down Diesel Joe and gets the information from him of who hired him to do this. Well, he finds out, and he goes to the house of the bigwig, right? And he goes in there, and he's tossing around his bodyguards. Again, he's got these kung fu abilities. Then he throws the owner into his pool and tells him, you know, you want to go at it? Let's go at it. Well, right after that, as soon as he throws that guy in the pool, the girl that he's been chasing this whole time and has had affairs with comes stepping out. The bad guy in this movie is her dad. So that really makes things uncomfortable, for sure. But as the story goes on, because he's thinking, all right, that's it, we're done. She used me. She wouldn't tell me her last name, and this is why. You know, but she had no idea that her dad was behind all this stuff that happened to this guy's dad, or any of this other stuff, right? So to get to all of it, she ends up kind of helping him get to the things he needs to get to. Take that for what you will. But just like in Highball, it ends up with all the truckers going against the main guy, the bad guy's henchman, and you got a big throwdown in a shipping yard, and you know, big fight scene here, and trying to right the wrong. And you know what? It's an all right flick. It's not bad. Again, super low budget. You can tell that this was definitely drive-in fodder. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, because I do like my movies like that. The print of this, now this is on Tubi, but the print of this is, I thought the film was going to break while I was watching it. This is definitely a pan and scan from, I don't know, maybe they found the original tape. Maybe this came off of VHS. It don't look like it. It looks like we just panned and scanned the original film that it was shot on, because it is beat to death. And it's like the quality keeps getting worse from the beginning of the movie till about halfway through, to the point I was like, you can't show many more scratches on a film than I've ever seen in this movie. It's pretty rough. And then all of a sudden, it clears up. Everything looks good. So I don't know if they pulled from different sources and pieced this together to make a complete movie. But I can overlook that, because I really like that aesthetic. Because when I went to the theater as a kid and saw these movies, that's the way they looked. You saw the pops and the frizzes and the scratches and the hairs and all that stuff in the film, the cigarette burns, right? I kind of miss that. I mean, I love the age of the clarity and everything, and the pristineness that we do with stuff now. Pristineness? Is that even a word? But I kind of miss the old fuzzy, you can tell this came off a reel of film. I kind of like that, right? Anyways, getting off subject. You know, again, if you're enjoying the series that I did a few weeks back of, you know, all the trucker stuff, the Smokey and the Bandit ripoff stuff, you know, this one's all right. It doesn't move really fast. Again, it's 70s. But if you like those kind of flicks, I think this is a pretty good one. Never heard of it before. So I was pleasantly surprised. And it's always cool to see these actors that become something else later on, that in your mind is, you know, it sticks out to you. Like I said, Larry Drake, I mean, come on. You know, Dr. Giggles, Darkman, all that stuff. To see them early on in their careers playing these characters, that's a lot of fun. So I enjoyed checking this one out, and I hope you do too. Again, it's on Tubi. This, like I said, this version that I saw is the one that's on Tubi. And so check it out. That's Trucker's Woman, 1975. Again, why it's called Trucker's Woman, I don't know. I mean, it could have been called anything, you know, trucker-wise, but Trucker's Woman is what they ended up with. So there you go, folks. That's my spin on it. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. It's just right down the middle of the road. Once you see it, you probably don't need to see it again, because you kind of feel like you've already seen it. Don't need to see it again. That's just my opinion. But I think if you like these kind of flicks, you still need to check it out. All right, folks, that's it for this one. We will check you on the flip side. See you later.